I wanted to weigh in for just a couple minutes on the situation around the Fallout 4 Anniversary Edition. And I know that other people have already talked about it. They've been talking about it for the last couple of days. I'm not the first person to do so, but other people talking about something has never stopped me before, and it won't this time. Because this is a company that has made a lot of games that are special to me over the years. I am not somebody who makes, hour-long video essays on how bad modern Fallout is. It does have problems. It is not perfect at all. And there are things that frustrate me about a lot of modern Fallout games. But I do still enjoy them. That's kind of the difference. And the Bethesda games, like even Skyrim and Oblivion, actually had a pretty special place in my life for a long time. Growing up, I played these games a lot with my dad. He passed away back in 2019. I've talked about that before, but just to kind of give you an idea of, I do care about the Bethesda worlds. One of our favorite games to play together was Fallout New Vegas. So to see the situation around Fallout 4 Anniversary, and also even before this, when I talked a few years ago on my one channel, and then I brought it over here about the Skyrim Anniversary Edition and how big of a nightmare it was, I didn't expect them to just do it again and screw it up again with Fallout 4, but they did. And it doesn't really seem like there's any shame with the things that they do nowadays. Like with Bethesda, it doesn't seem like there's any shame around the fact that they are just okay releasing games that don't work for an extended period of time. And I find that very frustrating. And even games like Fallout New Vegas, they pushed Obsidian to release it too quickly, which led to it not working right. So it's like Bethesda has had this problem for a long time, but it takes a special type of dumb decision making to go back to games that did work perfectly fine at this point, like Skyrim and Fallout 4, and break them again. And that's what this does. So it won't be long, just a couple minutes. You can't really make a big video essay about something that doesn't work at all, because it just doesn't work. At the end of the day, if you go to flip on a light switch and it doesn't do anything, you're kind of just stuck with something that's broken, right? And to quote evil Todd Howard, it just doesn't work. So I do have a question of the day for you, which is, what video game in general, it can be a Bethesda game, it can be whatever, do you think was the most busted at launch? This is up there for me, because it retroactively went back and broke a game that had worked fine now. But let me know your thoughts down below. Now, it is not just me, it is people across every single platform, from PC to the console platforms like Xbox Series X, PS5, trying to play this game, that have noticed that it is just a total mess. Now, the first thing it does is, for me, when I re-downloaded Fallout 4 through Game Pass, because I own the disc, but it was just easier in this case to just click download to try this out, it already tells me I have Fallout 4 Anniversary, but I don't. So that was already weirdly broken. But then they make you essentially, they gave me access to a couple of creations from the Anniversary Collection, but not all of them. And you have to pay $20 to upgrade for the rest of those creations if you want to have them. Which I said, okay, I'm going to do that to test them out, to see, are they actually broken? How does this actually work? And it is something that completely breaks the game. Not only did it make it so that my save file didn't recognize DLCs that I had access to that were installed, which is apparently happening to people across every platform, but it also broke the new creations that were added to this game. Because you have to understand that these Anniversary Collections, what they do is they have these things in the... they're essentially mods, but they're called creations. And the canonicity of some of these is really up in the air, because a bunch of them are endorsed by Bethesda. Some are even made by Bethesda. And so when you look at that and they're just straight up listed as Bethesda Game Studios creations, to me, that comes off pretty much as canon, right? If they are endorsing this, they're saying we made it, or they're saying, hey, this other person made it, it fits all the lore, we will license it and charge money, and they'll get some of the money and we'll get some of the money. The canon is really up in the air, and that's up to you. But even if you ignore all of that, it's still part of the game, right? If you get that creation content, if that's the whole point of the anniversary, then it should work. At least the new content. But even the new content doesn't actually load. It's supposed to give you access to 150 creations. Now, for someone like me who had already gotten some of them in the past, because I actually don't have a problem with modders being paid, and I don't have a problem with DLC if it's fun. That's just me. I get a lot of people think all mods should be free. I get a lot of people don't like the Creation Club. I'm not here to debate that with you. I'm just telling you, for me, when people put a bunch of time and effort into something, I'm fine with them making some money. I always have been. So when you have something like a creation or a mod, I am kind of like in a weird spot where if someone was charging $500 for it, I'd say this is just the dumbest thing ever. But if it was like run through the company and it's like a $5 thing, I don't care. Whatever. It's the same thing to me as buying a DLC at that point, just smaller. And in a world where microtransactions are like $20 for character skins in shooters, if you're actually getting content for $5, $6 and it's fun, I'm just saying that's always been my standpoint. Fine, pay the modder. I don't care. Where I have a problem with it is that this is stuff that is done directly through Bethesda. Like, they have their own creations, but then they also, with this anniversary, have creations bundled that were made by other creators that they have now endorsed. They've given the Bethesda stamp of approval to for like lore, for gameplay, for fitting into the world of Fallout 4. And they've said, we are going to include those as part of the game with new content, even for console players, you know, who are not really used to having mods on games like this. It's a newer feature for them in recent years. We're going to make it so that you can play these things. And they add more content to your game. Okay, so people are willing to spend maybe $20 and upgrade that and get all of this creation content. It doesn't work. Certain ones will load. Certain ones will not even enable. You can click to download everything you have. You can click to enable everything you have. It doesn't work. The Anniversary Edition ruined the UI. Like, completely, of the main menu where you try to go into these creations and look at it. It is a jumbled mess. Other people have had the same problem. There are Reddit threads with hundreds of comments, like on the Fallout 4 Reddit, talking about how it just doesn't work. People saying the creations menu, the creations bundle isn't even listed among things that they had purchased, or it didn't show up that they even owned it. It didn't show up that people even owned things like the Nuka World DLC at this point. It didn't even show up that people owned things like the, Automatron or whatever, like all of these DLCs that were just official things from the beginning. It just, nothing worked for them. So it hit a point too where it even breaks saves to some extent, where you try to load your save and it'll even sometimes say you don't have content installed that was installed before. And so then I had to go back and reinstall that. And even after that, it basically hit a point where the new content still wouldn't work, even after I got the old content I had already had to work. I also noticed, now I'm not Digital Foundry, I'm not any of these, companies that measure performance. For me, I also noticed that this did introduce new bugs to the game in terms of its performance. I don't have an FPS counter like on my game, but the game was not running as smoothly as it used to either. Even on Xbox Series X. It was not running as smoothly in terms of frame rate. The autosave function would freak out and freeze the game for 5 to 10 seconds sometimes, and I would think it was going to crash. Just trying to load into the game a couple times, it straight up booted me to the menu, or when I was playing, it booted me out and crashed the application completely. I'm not going to pretend Fallout 4 is the most stable game ever and that it has never crashed, but it has been far more frequent since they introduced this anniversary content. The entire thing is a mess. I don't know what they were thinking. Even if they fix it, it doesn't really fix the problem here, which is that this company seems to be more and more okay with releasing things that don't work at all, and then acting like, it's just some Bethesda bugs, it's silly, whatever. Some silly Bethesda bugs are like a character's arms get super long and they go into the ground and they clip out of existence, then reload. Or silly Bethesda bugs are like you shoot somebody and they go flying across the map. You know, those are silly things. Silly bugs are not quests breaking, the game booting you, content you paid for that worked years ago not working anymore, not registering as you owning it. Those are not silly Bethesda bugs. This is not quirky. It's just stupid. I don't understand why this kind of thing is acceptable. And like, hey, maybe I'm a hypocrite, because, you know, it's like in the future, if they make a Fallout 5 and it's a good game, yeah, I'd want it. But I just don't understand why they feel comfortable releasing stuff right now that retroactively breaks games they made years ago. It's like that's a new level of really poor choices. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. What have your thoughts been with this? I don't know why, after what happened with Skyrim Anniversary and how busted it was, they were willing to do this again and make the same mistake again without learning. And with how bad Fallout Day was this year, like, because they had a Fallout Day celebration where they announced things, with how bad that was, because that was just awful. It's like, this is just a very pathetic look, you know? It's just very bad. And it gives a lot of credence and credibility to the people who hate Bethesda and hate modern Fallout. Like, you're just playing into what those people already feel. You're not changing anyone's minds. If anything, you're just turning off the people who do still like what you're doing. It's very sad. If you enjoyed the video, you want to leave a like, subscribe, I appreciate you very much. There are ways to support our channel as well. I sometimes show our Fortnite code. I also talk about our own store, cosmobunny.shop. We sell one-of-a-kind items for people like you, made from recycled paper, from comics, manga, magazines, and other books that have been damaged. You know, those are things that we don't print images. We take paper that exists, we use resin and stuff like that to create one-of-a-kind coasters, keychains, trays, and more for people like you, and we appreciate your support so much. Have a fantastic day, and as always, everyone, stay shway.